we don't know where fibroids come from, and that's another problem. There hasn't been the appropriate research, and I'll put that aside for a moment. I'd like to come back to that. But people ask me all the time, why do African-American women disproportionately suffer with fibroids? Mm-hmm. And it does run stronger genetically in African-American families, but we can't pick our parents. We can't do anything about that.
Right.
But there are things we have control over.
Yeah.
We don't know where fibroids come from, but once they arrive on the scene, they grow with estrogen. And estrogen, unfortunately, is pervasive in the food, in the water. There's lots of hormones. But if you can avoid some of the hormone-rich foods, red meat, non-organic chicken, dairy, and instead increase your diet of colored fruits and vegetables, which have compounds in them called flavonoids, which...
Hold on. Say those three things again.
The hormone-rich foods are red meat, non-organic chicken, dairy. Those have, and you can do workarounds.
You saying don't eat those?
Well, try to limit consumption. I couldn't avoid all red meat forever. That would be, I'm kind of a carnivore, but if you can kind of moderate and lean choices, and instead of dairy, maybe you use like one of the nut milks or there's workarounds these, and say, I love chicken, but there are chickens that have, being plumped up with hormones. So,
right.
Organic chicken that are supposed to be, without hormones. If you can do that and eat more colored fruits and vegetables, which have these compounds called flavonoids, which block estrogen, an important enzyme in estrogen production. The other is try to be as close to your ideal body weight, because estrogen is stored and produced in body fat. And in general, racially, African-American women have more body fat than other racial groups. Asian women have the lowest body fat and the lowest incidence of fibroids. Now, I see a lot of very healthy, fit...
Is that genetic or diet?
Well, both, I think. I mean, but you can't control the genetics. You might as well try to work on what you can work on.
Right.
And I see a lot of fit African-American women in my practice that have very low body fats that still have big fibroids. They're doing what they need to do, but, genetically, they have this issue. But if you can try to lose excess body fat, no one says you have to be skinny, but if you lose excess body fat, you will improve your fibroid symptoms. And then the last piece is vitamin D. Vitamin D is the most powerful growth inhibitor of fibroids that we know of. And only 10% of African-American men or women have adequate vitamin D. And if you have a normal vitamin D, you're much less likely to suffer with fibroids. But again, only 10% do. So get your vitamin D checked, supplement if you need to. That's a really important piece.
Yeah, fibroids is expressly just in women.
Expressly in women. It is the most common pelvic tumor in women. Probably 80% of African-American women have these benign tumors.
Wow.
Now, they're not all symptomatic, but they have them.
Yeah.
And it's the most common reason why women have heavy periods. It's also the most common reason why women undergo hysterectomy. As I mentioned, hysterectomy, the average age is under 40, and I've met way too many women under 30 that have had a hysterectomy from fibroids, and it is completely and totally unnecessary. UFE should be the first line option rather than hysterectomy, because you get to keep all your parts, even have children after.
What is the age range that is the heaviest impacted?
30s and 40s is the peak for fibroids. Some women, African-American women get them earlier in life. We've seen some teenagers that have already been impacted by fibroids. That's unusual, but African-American women get them earlier. They get them bigger, more numerous, and they're more likely to undergo hysterectomy. In fact, if you look, Meharry did a study. They looked racially at who gets hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Caucasian women get hysterectomy for cancer of the uterus, which is absolutely appropriate, period, end. African-American women get hysterectomy for benign fibroids. So you could say, why are we, again, doing amputation for benign disease in Black women?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be. UFE replaces all of that.